The night was calm, almost unnaturally so, when the knock came at our door. My husband, Michael, and I were just settling down in the living room. The kids were upstairs, already asleep, and we had been savoring the rare, quiet moment. Life in our neighborhood of Willow Creek was usually uneventful. Neighbors waved politely, lawns were trimmed neatly, and gossip traveled faster than the morning paper. Yet something about that knock felt different. It wasn't a polite tap like a neighbor asking to borrow sugar. It wasn't the hurried knock of kids selling cookies or the sharp rattle of a delivery driver. It was firm, steady, and deliberate. 3 knocks, then silence. Michael and I looked at each other. He raised his eyebrows as if to ask silently, "Are you expecting anyone?" I shook my head. It was already past 9, too late for visitors. Michael got up first, cautious but curious, and approached the door. I followed close behind, clutching the throw blanket around my shoulders as though it would protect me from whatever, or whoever, was outside. He reached for the handle, but something inside me urged caution. "Wait," I whispered. "Look first." Through the peephole, Michael frowned. "It's 2 people," he said slowly. "A man and a woman. I don't recognize them." My heart began to beat faster. 2 strangers at this hour? I glanced toward the dark street through the side window. No cars idled at the curb. The neighborhood was quiet, almost too quiet, as though it had been holding its breath, waiting for this moment. "Who is it?" I called out, trying to sound braver than I felt. The woman's voice was calm but urgent. "Please, we just need a minute. We mean no harm." Against my better judgment, Michael opened the door halfway, his body angled to block full entry. The porch light illuminated them clearly now. The man was tall, with sandy blonde hair and tired eyes, wearing a wrinkled button-down shirt. The woman beside him looked younger, maybe mid-20s, with dark brown hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. Both of them appeared exhausted, as though they had been walking for hours. "Can we come in?" the man asked, his voice steady but edged with desperation. Michael hesitated, his protective instincts strong. "Depends. Who are you? What do you want?" The woman's eyes flicked nervously down the street, then back at us. "Please. We need to explain. We didn't know where else to go." Something about her voice shook me. She wasn't threatening. She sounded scared. Against every rational warning screaming in my head, I nodded. "Okay. Just for a minute." Michael reluctantly stepped aside, and the 2 strangers entered. The air seemed to shift immediately, as though the weight of their presence carried a storm behind it. We led them into the living room. They sat gingerly on the edge of the sofa, while Michael and I remained standing. I folded my arms tightly, wary but curious. The man spoke first. "My name's Daniel, and this is Emily. You don't know us, but we know something about you." My stomach tightened. Know something about us? My mind raced through possibilities. Were they scammers? Witnesses to some accident? Former tenants of our house? Michael narrowed his eyes. "You'd better start explaining fast." Daniel exchanged a glance with Emily, then leaned forward. "You may not believe this, but you're in danger. And if we hadn't come, you wouldn't have known until it was too late." I laughed nervously, trying to diffuse the tension. "Danger? From what?" "We live in one of the quietest suburbs in the state." But Emily shook her head, her hands trembling slightly in her lap. "Quiet isn't always safe. Sometimes it's just the calm before something unthinkable happens." Her words hung in the air like a storm cloud. Michael crossed his arms, skeptical. "All right, enough with the theatrics. You show up on our doorstep in the middle of the night, scaring my wife, talking about danger. What exactly are you talking about?" Daniel's voice dropped lower. "There are people looking for you. Not just you, but families like yours. And once they find you, they don't ask permission to enter." Chills ran down my spine. "Why us?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Daniel hesitated before answering. "Because of something connected to this house." That froze me. This house, the place we had poured years of savings into, the home where we raised our children, where every corner held a memory, suddenly felt unfamiliar, even hostile. Michael shook his head firmly. "No. I don't buy it. You're telling me some vague story about danger, without a shred of proof. If you don't start giving real answers, I'm calling the police. Emily's eyes widened with panic.
No.
Please don't. If you call them, they'll be alerted too. They watch for calls like that. You'll put all of us in danger. Silence filled the room. I could hear the ticking of the clock on the wall, each second magnifying the tension. Finally, Daniel pulled something from his jacket pocket. A folded piece of paper. He handed it to Michael, who opened it cautiously. My husband's face paled as his eyes scanned the page. What is it? I asked nervously. He handed it to me. It was a list typed neatly, almost clinically. At the top, it read, "Subjects of interest." And there, halfway down, was our last name, Henderson. Beside it, our address. Our children's names. I nearly dropped the paper. How do you have this? Daniel's voice was heavy. Because we used to be on the inside. We got out. Barely. And now we're trying to warn the others before it's too late. Every instinct screamed at me to distrust them, but the undeniable reality of that paper shattered my disbelief. Someone had our information. Someone was watching. Michael rubbed his forehead, his usual calm replaced by visible unease. Okay, let's say we believe you. What are we supposed to do? Emily leaned forward, urgency burning in her eyes. You don't have much time. They could come any day, any hour. You have to decide if you're going to wait or if you're going to fight back. The room went cold. My mind reeled with questions, fear, and disbelief. Strangers had knocked on our door tonight, and with their words, they had cracked open a reality we never imagined. The safety we had always taken for granted felt like glass, fragile and ready to shatter. What happened next would change everything, for us, for Daniel and Emily, and maybe for others we didn't even know existed. And as we sat there in our quiet suburban home, clutching a list that should never have existed, I realized something with chilling certainty. Nothing about our lives would ever be the same again.